Welcome to the Valley Today, a public service presentation of KAIL-TV. High-speed rail through Central California has been a hot topic for several years and is affecting some farmers in rural Kings County. We'll hear from Mike Montero, dairyman, and his opinion on high-speed rail. Next, on the Valley Today. Well, welcome to the Valley Today. We're with Mike Montero here at his farm out of Hanford. And you've got an interesting problem. You're going to have high-speed rail come right through all your cows.
That's right. That's right. We've got quite a problem here, and I didn't even know about this problem until May. A neighbor come by here and he says, "Guess what? High-speed rail's coming right through your dairy." No one from high-speed rail come out here and talk to me about it. They didn't inform me. They did an environmental impact report. Didn't tell me anything about it. Didn't involve me or nothing. A neighbor had to come and tell me high-speed rail's going to cut off my dairy, going to cut off my cows from half of my cows from the other half of my cows, going to cut off my fueling yard, my maintenance shop. I mean, a huge problem for me, and unbelievable how they didn't even make me aware of what they were going to do.
So they came out and did an EIR, an environmental impact report, but they didn't talk to any of the farmers here.
No.
So how does that work?
Yeah, I don't understand.
I guess it works pretty good for them because you know,
that's right.
Well, if we don't talk to them, then there's no trouble.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. They it's unbelievable how they've been running this thing. The EIR's been out since I think August the 12th. I've read through the ag section, and there's just no meat and potatoes in it for the ag guys. There's no explanation of what's going to happen exactly here and how they're going to mitigate the problems that we have, and the electricity that we're worried about being so close to the cows, and so it's unbelievable what they're doing here.
Yeah. That's something else.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this has been coming for quite some time, that the high-speed rail was going to be coming up the Central Valley. You just didn't think it was going to be coming through your property. Now, it's interesting that you had mentioned that the transportation corridor, it veers off that and comes right through your property. And there's one rail line to the west of you, and there's another rail line that is the 99 corridor that's to the east of you.
Right.
And it would seem like it would make more sense for them to go up one of those rail lines that's already established. But yet they want to create a third rail line between these two and come right through this area.
Exactly. My opinion about high-speed rail is that I don't believe high-speed rail belongs here in the Central Valley. North of Hanford here, north of the 198, that thing is zigzagging through permanent crops, walnuts, pistachios, fruit trees. They're just destroying these farmers up there. There's lots and lots of 100 and 200 acre farmers up there that are making their living off of these crops.
Right.
And they're just zigzagging through the center of them. They're cutting off their irrigation systems. They're going over the top of their wells, destroying their wells. I mean, high-speed rail doesn't belong here in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
My opinion is high-speed rail needs to be out on the foothills of the I-5. You know, if they're after trying to transport people from north to south, then they need to run along the I-5, very little expense, very little destruction to all these highways and everything that we have in here. It's I don't understand why they're not doing that. They said that they've studied the I-5 and they said it doesn't work. They're trying to be here close to the population centers, but I don't think it's a huge thing for them to be in here collecting people here in the Central Valley in these small cities with a 200-mile-an-hour train.
Well, I'll tell you what.
It doesn't make any sense.
They could collect 3,500 cows off your farm because that's about the only thing they're going to collect here, because we're out in the middle of nowhere.
There's
nothing to collect other than this being a corridor.
That's right. This is ag out here.
Take us from the beginning. When did you find out about your property being looked at?
Right at the beginning of May. We had two people from Kings County here go to the I think it was May 2nd board meeting in Sacramento. Diana Peck and Frank Oliveira. And they went up there, they got up, spoke to the board, and both were disrespected, especially Diana Peck, highly disrespected. And she was there trying to represent the farmers of Kings County because she's the executive director, was at the time the executive director of the Kings County Farm Bureau. And so right after that, Frank Oliveira got together with some guys, and we got to talking to some neighbors out here, and we just got to think, this just isn't right. They're not going to run over Kings County and disrespect us like they did at the May 2nd board meeting. So we formed a committee, we formed a group here, and we're going to fight these guys.
Yeah. So when did you go to Sacramento?
I went on the June 2nd board meeting.
And so how did that go?
Well, we went up there. We a lot of us. Let me see. I think there was 15 of us on the bus. We went up there. Mostly most landowners and other interested parties. And Frank Oliveira asked for Kurt Pringle's resignation. And a few weeks later, we got it.
And why did Oliveira want Pringle taken off the board?
Because he's the one who disrespected Diana Peck.
Oh, okay.
He told her, get your numbers right and get your facts straight. Send your farmers up here. I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
So sure enough, June 2nd, we showed up there as landowners.
Yeah.
And we told him, please don't ever disrespect our executive director again.
Pitchforks and torches.
That's right.
But I bet you're glad that you did that.
Yeah, we
did. It seem like they had it hidden? The agenda was already set in stone when you went. That we don't necessarily need to listen to these farmers from Kings County because we already know what we want, and this is the way it's going to be.
Exactly.
Did you get that feeling?
Exactly. When we press these board members for answers to the problems that we have here in Kings County, they simply tell us we're not paid people for high-speed rail. We're simply board members here.
Right.
We're not getting paid. We get a stipend of $100 a meeting or something or another. And he said we have other full-time jobs. We aren't able to commit very much time to this project. We're doing the best we can do.
Yeah.
That's the answer they have for us for a $70 billion project.
What type of board members do they have? What did these people represent? Where did they come from? What was their background?
That's a good question, too. Kurt Pringle is a school teacher.
Yeah? Out of the LA Basin?
Yes, yeah. Out of the LA Basin, he's a school teacher.
Right.
And he's the chairman for high-speed rail.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. No, he knows nothing about this valley.
Right.
Doesn't care what harm he's doing to the farmers out here. And it's just unbelievable.
So it would seem like they would send a contingency of people to come and interview the people that it would affect, and get their opinions and look at the properties. Do you think they even came and looked at the property, or?
Absolutely. What you just said is what Caltrans did for the Highway 198 widening project. They had told the landowners at least 10 years prior, the Highway 198 widening project that went from the city of Hanford to the city of Visalia.
Yeah, and we're gonna take your property, we're gonna compensate you for it, but we've got to widen this road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those people were fully aware. Every single landowner through there was fully aware years before the project took place, and they were able to give their input at what harm they were going to do, and Caltrans worked with them to mitigate the issues that they had.
Yeah.
High-speed rail isn't doing any of that.
Well, they're going to break ground supposedly next year.
September
2012.
12.
Yeah.
September 12. How do you like that?
Yeah. And they're going to do it right here, right?
That's right. Right through. Well, they think they are.
Yeah.
They think they are.
Right.
But if we have it our way, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So were there other counties that went to these board meetings? People from Fresno County, people from Madera County, people from Merced?
It's surprising. There's not a lot of people that are going to these board meetings. I think possibly partly because people just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
People don't think it's coming. It's too huge of a project, and there's no money. The state has no money. The federal government is cutting back their debt and making an attempt to cut back their debt, and so. people aren't serious about this project. So the people that are attending these board meetings are the heads of cities. You can imagine the large cities. They're all for this project. The city of Visalia, no harm to them. They want this project.
Yeah, but the alignment won't even get close to Visalia.
Right. Yeah. These cities that don't have any harm, and their people can ride high-speed rail. Well, they think it's a wonderful project. They don't care what it costs. They don't care how it's going to get paid for. They just want the project.
Yeah.
Fresno is another city. The mayor of Fresno, Ashley Swearingen and Henry Perea, they're all for this wild project. And they don't care anything about what it's doing to this farmland out here.
Yeah, you think that they would have come and they would have gotten an opinion of the people that it was going to affect.
Exactly.
But of course, to play devil's advocate, they say, well, you're just one farm. You're just one farmer, and there's only a handful of people that this is going to affect. Now, mind you, that's devil's advocate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. They just don't understand the harms here. I have 1,000 acres here, dairy facility, and they're chopping me in half. They're cutting off my irrigation lines. I need to be able to irrigate this wastewater from the dairy evenly on all my property, and it's going to be impossible, obviously, to cross these lines here, to irrigate, to move equipment back and forth.
Right.
We have all these questions. We've made several attempts at answers from high-speed rail, and before the EIR came out, they kept telling us your questions will get answered when the EIR comes out. We still have questions, and the EIR hasn't answered any of them.
Mm-hmm. So if they do in fact cut through your property, how much on each side of the tracks would that affect?
At this point, it's hard to tell. I would say, I would say at least. Well, you say effect. It has a huge detriment to spraying my crops. Is the biggest problem, because with a 200-mile-an-hour train coming through here, swirling up the air, it's impossible to get in next to the alignment, because they said when it's full out running, there's going to be a train, I think, every 5 minutes. It's going to be impossible to get in here along the alignment and spray these crops with the swirling of the air that the train will be making. And the private applicators here in this area, the custom guys that do the spraying, they said they won't even touch it within a half a mile. I think half or 3/4 of a mile. They won't touch it, because they could possibly get a lawsuit against them for spraying for their spray that they're spraying getting moved to another crop.
Right.
So,
hey, Mike, we're out of time on this segment, but we're going to be right back with Mike Montero here at his farm. How high-speed rail is perhaps going to affect this guy, and we're going to go look at your solar farm. I guess we're south of Hanford.
Yeah, about 5 miles.
Third-generation farmer.
That's right.
Yeah, and the cows, these are all happy California cows, right?
That's right.
But they won't be happy if the families are split up, right? I mean, some of the cows are going to get split from the others. And
that's right.
It's just going to be a mess.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a mess.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we're not too happy about it.
So they've got a high-speed rail corridor coming from south to north, and it's going to get realigned, and it's going to zigzag all over everybody's property. It's going to be like a ping pong tournament.
That's right. We're real unhappy with what they're doing out here. They told the voters in 2008 that this thing was supposed to follow a transportation corridor, and it's just not doing that. They sold this thing to the voters, and
that
barely passed.
This barely passed.
Right. Yeah. This thing barely passed, and then now they're just running through this farmland, and they're lying to the people about how they're going about doing this and how they come to these conclusions. And we have the worst of it here in Kings County, from north of Layton for 28 miles all the way into the city of Corcoran. We have the worst of it here. For the most part, it follows transportation corridors, as far as I'm aware of, going through Fresno and north of Fresno, and then going south of Corcoran and on into Bakersfield. It follows transportation corridors, but here in Kings County we have the worst of it, and we're working to make sure that this thing doesn't happen, that this alignment doesn't happen on the east side of town here.
So the first alignment was going to be along this this western rail here.
Exactly. The original alignment was to follow the BNSF tracks south of Fresno, come straight through Layton and straight through the town of Hanford. Follow because that's where the BNSF tracks currently are, and they were going to go all the way into Corcoran, following the BNSF tracks. Well, the city of Hanford didn't like that and pushed high-speed rail out. There's been quite a few farmers that have offered to give them land if they would just follow the tracks and just cut off the edge of their field for 100 feet or 125 feet, whatever it is. All they would lose is the edge of their field, and there wouldn't be very much harm. This thing that they have now that's zigzagging through here, it's cutting through the center of fields and cutting off all these pipelines going over the top of wells. It just can't happen.
Yeah. And so that would be minimal impact if they stayed along on an existing line, but now to create a new line, which would be a third line because they've got one on the 99 corridor, they've got one here on this west corridor.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
but you know what? You're going to get your milk to market real fast.
That's right.
Did you ever think about that?
Yeah. No, not really.
And the numbers, I don't think the numbers jive either. From what I've understood, the cost keeps going up. I think it started at 25 billion, and the numbers just keep going up as far as what it's going to cost to get this system of play. And they don't even have a locomotive yet. I don't think they don't have the train built. They're going to build the tracks first, but the train doesn't exist yet.
Yeah,
from what I understand.
Yeah, yeah. As far as I'm aware of, the cost, the initial cost was pegged at in 2008, 2009 was pegged at about 43 billion. It's gone up, admittedly, by high-speed rail to about 67 billion, and expected to go even higher than that. And this first section that they're going to build, they had it pegged at about I don't know, 6.5 billion. And when the EIR was released, it has now been announced that this middle section, which is what they call the backbone of the high-speed rail, from Merced to just north of Bakersfield, now it's pegged at 10 to 14 billion dollars.
Wow!
So the numbers are highly suspect. The ridership is highly suspect. That 10 to 14 billion doesn't even include trains. They expect 5 years of construction here in the Central Valley, and they're not even going to put trains on it.
Yeah.
For this 5-year period.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they think they're going to get this thing to pay its way.
And they said there was going to be a train coming through every 5 minutes.
Right. When this thing is all full build out from all the way to San
every
Francisco.
5 minutes, there's going to be a train
San
blowing
Francisco
through
to
here.
San Diego, they're talking every 5 minutes.
Oh,
and here, I don't know, 2035, 2050, you know, a train every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Now, how long has your family been in the dairy business?
My grandpa started in Goshen in the 1930s. He bought his first dairy facility in early 1950s, and my dad is still there today. And then me and my younger brother went into business with my dad in the 90s, and we bought Lakeside. We bought the land here in 2003 here in Kings County, and we began construction in 2005 and started milking cows here in 2006.
So this is a fairly new dairy.
Yes. Yeah. This is a new modern dairy facility.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. I bet you're proud of it.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are.
And so, how many animals do you run on this dairy?
This dairy is 3,500 milk cows and 3,500 replacement.
Yeah. So those are young animals. How long does the dairy cow last?
About, let's see, it takes 2 years before they start giving milk, and then from there they have about 3 calves. 3 years, have a calf about every year, so 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
A cow.
Wow.
Cow will be in service.
Yeah, and now you have kids?
Yes.
Are they going to go into business after you?
Well, I don't know. It's still early. My oldest is Jessica, my daughter. She's a junior in Cal Poly.
Yeah.
And she's a ag management major. And then my next is a son, Curtis. He just started COS, his first year at COS. And my youngest is Jacob, and he's a junior at Central Valley Christian High School.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think they are, but time will tell. You know.
Of course, you're a young man, so you got a ways to go yet. But you know, we've always got to look to the future.
Yeah.
We've always got to look to the future.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting future that you have here because you know this the train.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if we have our way, it's not going to come through here though,
Yeah.
and I think we will. I'm becoming more confident all the time that it's not going to come through here.
And you guys really came together pretty quick. Your neighbors, you rallied fairly quickly and got up to Sacramento, and you got in these people's faces, which needed to be done.
Yeah, you know, the big thing for me was, and I think partly for the rest of us in our group was, soon as Florida and Wisconsin and Ohio, as soon as they canceled their projects, and for the most part, most of that money came to California for high-speed rail,
Right.
we really got nervous.
Yeah.
And when they got a wad of money, federal money here in California to build high-speed rail, we got to thinking, you know what? They might put something together here in the Central Valley. We better arm up and
Stay on top of it.
and get on these guys
Yeah.
and push them out of here.
So do you think this is actually going to come eventually somewhere in the valley?
You know, at some point, you would think that, you know, with population growth and all that, you would think that at some point, you know, with high-speed rail at so many different parts of the world already, France, Spain, China, of course, Japan. You'd think that at some point in time we need high-speed rail, but first we need ag. Ag
Absolutely.
was here first,
Absolutely.
and this needs to stay ag here in the valley. There's no other place in the United States, or for that fact, probably in the world, that has farmland that we have with mountains to the east to collect this rainwater and to send this water west in the summertime to irrigate these crops. I mean, this valley is really unique. And it needs to not have high-speed rail here.
And you know, you've been feeding the world.
That's right.
You know, Central California ag has been feeding the world.
Yeah. That's absolutely right.
Well, we're almost out of time. Do you have any last thoughts before we wrap this segment up?
Yeah, you know, we're in a fundraising mode right now. Our group, which is Citizens for California High-Speed Rail Accountability, has hired a lawyer and an environmentalist and some specialists to study this thing, and we're going to make some comments here coming to the end of the EIR period. We're going to make some comments, and we're going to watch this thing carefully, and we're doing what we need to do to if need be, file a lawsuit against high-speed rail, and that's what we intend in doing.
Yeah.
Any websites? Or?
Yeah, do you have a website or?
Yes, it's cchsra.org.
Okay, and that's
it's for additional information about what we're doing and what we've got going on, what upcoming activities we had, and anyone wishing to donate can go there, and there's some phone numbers there people they can talk to.
Okay, well, Mike Montero, thanks for being on the Valley today. It's
Bob.
been a real pleasure.
All right.
And the Valley Today is a public service presentation of this great TV station. Thanks for watching and have a great day.